Welcome to the Real Talk Podcast, where real people talk about the real. And today is episode 12, and I want to start by saying I hope everyone's been having a blessed week. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Today's another beautiful day, so today's another day we're going to get out here and get these episodes done. And I want to start by letting y'all know that we're going to be more consistent. I feel like I've been slacking, so we're back locked in, and I'm going to be dropping videos more often. I think after I get off of work, I'm going to just come home, walk, and then come out here and do more episodes. That way I could get more episodes done, stay consistent, and keep it going. I feel like I took a long break after just 3 days, so that's just me wanting to drop more content, I think, and I hope y'all are willing to watch more videos and be ready for consistency. Anger does not excuse your actions. Anger does not make your actions okay. You have to live through your traumas, and you have to understand your feelings in that moment and fully get a grasp of your feelings instead of acting on anger. Anger is never the great way to go about things. And anger is never the great way to accomplish your goals. Anger is never going to lead you down a path of enlightenment, a path of success. None of those things will happen if you're always angry, right? And I think I learned that at 16, and like I said, it took a long time. It took a lot of anger. It took me causing a lot of people harm for me to learn that anger was controlling my life. And it started when I was in middle school. I was a bully towards people. I was a bully towards my siblings. And it was because my mom was targeting me at home, and she had no longer seen my siblings as bad people anymore. It was just me, and none of us were bad people, but my mom for some reason was very angry at the world, very angry at us, and that led her to think that we were terrible kids or whatever the case may have been, but we were just normal kids, and parents sometimes they don't see things. And I'm glad to say it's almost been a year that my mom has finally been off of the things that she used to do and stopped doing the things she used to do, and now she's no longer an angry person, and that makes us all happier, right? And I'm no longer angry at her. I forgave her a long time ago. I forgave her at the age of maybe 18, 17, I would say 17. 17 is when I finally had just let go of my anger totally towards my mom and totally towards my dad, even though it had traumatized me so much, and they have built me as a person because of those traumas. But I will not be controlled and confined by my situation, right? And I will not be controlled and confined by my traumas. I'm able to work through those things and understand my feelings are valid, but my actions were not. And like I said, through middle school, I was a very angry person. I would bully people at school. I was rude to my friends. I was an annoying kid, and it wasn't until my freshman year that I had finally stopped doing that, and I had finally stopped feeling like a victim, and I had finally stopped having suicidal thoughts, to be real with y'all. I had finally stopped being angry, and then something had happened at home to where I got very angry again. Certain events had happened that I will share with y'all one day when I break down to y'all my story of life, but let's just say certain events had happened and it led me to be back angry, and it led me to be angry all the time at this point. And what I mean by all the time is 24/7. Every breath I took was filled with anger. Everything I was doing was filled with anger. Like I was saying, everything I was doing was felt with anger. And what I mean by that is every action I took, I had anger. Every step I took, I had anger in those steps. And I could feel the anger in my soul, in my mind on a daily basis. Every breath I took, I'm trying to tell y'all, every breath I took was controlled by anger, because I was so mad at the world. I was so mad at God to where I had given up on God. I had not noticed that God is really watching over me. God is trusting in me to get through these things. God is giving me this battle to deal with because he thinks I am strong enough. I was not able to understand that. Instead, I was angered, and I had given up on God. I had given up on my family, and I had given up on everybody else in the world, and I was just led to be angry on a daily basis. And it led me to probably cause harm to my siblings once again. And like I said, at this point, I was a freshman in high school, so I was 14, maybe 15. No, I was 14, and I was just, cut off from everybody. I had no friends, and then gladly I was blessed with some individuals that came in my life that also had a situation going on at their home, and they had a situation going on at their home that was a lot worse than mine. And they were not angry. They were happy people. They were able to see light, but they were still doing things out of anger, but they were not angry all the time, right? And compared to me, I was angry all the time, and having them kind of whip me into shape and kind of fight me and things like that, like men do. We went back and forth at it. We would fight and we would get into arguments and things like that, but they helped me. They helped me as a person. They helped me grow as a person. And shout out to them. I don't want to say their names right now because, like I said, I'll tell y'all my story eventually. And I'll break down to y'all in details my story and all the people that played a role into my life and into my success eventually at one point. And yeah, and how it's built me up as a person and how I was able to live through those things and understand those things. And I'll go into depth and into great detail one day with y'all, and I hope y'all will be willing to listen, and I hope y'all will be willing to learn from that. And I just want to say, you always will have somebody, because even if it's someone that you're not seeing, you always have God on your side. And at the time, I didn't realize that, but now I'm glad to say that I've been able to see God again, and I'm able to see that God is on my side and God is not angry at me. So therefore, He will heal my anger and He will help me get through my anger, right? But at the time, freshman year, I had no clue about that. I had given up. I was angry all the time. My mom was thinking about sending me to boot camp. My mom was back being abusive at the time. And then, at one point, I had got so angry that I told her, do not touch me again, or else I don't know what I will do. I will never hit a woman. This is the exact words I told my mom. I will never hit a woman, but you make me very mad to where I feel like I have to defend myself, and I'm not going to keep dealing with this. And in that day, she seen so much anger in my eyes and so much hatred that she finally stopped. She stopped the abuse towards me. She stopped the mental abuse towards me and my siblings. Like, she had stopped everything. And she kind of just left us. She kind of abandoned us mentally, and then eventually, she really did. And like I said, I'll share details eventually one day. But now I still live with my mom, and I no longer hold hatred towards my mom. And I don't know if the same goes for my siblings. I know for sure they probably still struggle with this, but maybe they'll watch this video and they'll understand a little bit more about me, and they'll understand a little bit more about themselves and how they could grow as a person, right? But you can't help everybody. You can't save everybody. That's something I also learned on the journey through learning about my anger. And because I was angered by other people's actions, I was angered by other people's outlook on my life, and I was angered at my outlook of my life. I was traumatized on a daily basis. I was letting that control my anger. And trauma leads you to usually be angry, I would say, right? And trauma leads you to have a lot of questioning, and questioning usually stems with anger, like I said. And so I was second guessing everything, really. I was not understanding what anger really meant to me. And then COVID came, and I had got really sick, and I will share with y'all more about that, like I said, eventually on one episode. But I got really sick, and someone, shout out Angel, my friend, and shout out Ricardo, their whole family, that's my second family. That's my first family at times, and I got so much love for them, and those are really my people, because they really were able to heal that anger that I had in my soul. They couldn't heal my sickness that I was dealing with at the time, but they were able to heal my anger at times. I still had to go home every now and then, but I was really kind of living with them, because I had gotten so angry, and I had got so fed up with dealing with this anger, and I got so tired of dealing with this anger and trying to help other people and change other people, that I realized that there is no changing those other people. There is no helping your situation unless you want to help it. And Angel and his family had helped me so much. They had let me stay at their house for days on end. They had fed me when I wasn't able to be fed. They really looked out for me. They really healed a lot of anger in my soul. And then I was told I had to move away, and this was during COVID, like I said. So at this point, I'm already a sophomore. So halfway through sophomore year, I wasn't doing school or anything. Like I said, I was very angry at the world, so I had given up on life. My mom didn't really care about us. Like I said, she abandoned us, and she had left us high and dry. So she didn't care if we were in school or not. So why would I? So I didn't drop out of school, but I wasn't doing this online classes during COVID or anything like that, right? I was very angry at the world. And then I hear that we're moving to Texas. And when I heard that, I was angered so much, because there were so many things going on in my life, with my own family, with my friend's family, with my friend's situation, with my situation. And like I said, I'll share the details with y'all eventually one day in my story. But there was so much things going on that I was so angered when I heard that we were moving, because I felt like I was abandoning that situation. I felt like I was a weak individual leaving that situation. And it was random. It was very random. I will share into details with y'all. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying that so y'all don't like wonder like, oh, what's the cliffhanger? Why isn't he sharing this? It's a lot. It's a lot to talk about, and I'm not very comfortable sharing it by myself. If that sounds right to y'all, or if that sounds wrong, I'm sorry, but it I need my friends with me, when I share these type of things, because I want to share it with them one day, and I want them to be in my presence when I share it, so they can understand more about myself and more on my outlook. And when I'm by myself, I kind of second guess my feelings because of past traumas and because of things people have done and things that people have said to me about how I'm supposed to feel. But now, like I said, I'm able to work through how I'm supposed to feel and understand how I'm supposed to feel, and I understand that my feelings are valid, and it's not up to the next person to tell me how I'm supposed to feel. How I feel is how I feel, and how you feel is how you feel. Now, the next person feels how they feel, but they have no right to tell you how you feel. They have no right to tell me how I feel, and they have no right to tell me how I felt in that moment, in that situation, because you don't know me. You don't know my outlook of life. You never lived in my life. You never lived in my shoes. So how could you understand how I see things, right? And learning that, after learning we were going to move, really changed my perspective. Like I said, I was very angry. So we drove to Texas eventually, and we moved out of California. We came to Texas. And when we came to Texas, I was very angry for a long time. And then I had started school back up. And at this point, I was a very chubby kid. I was wearing pro clubs. I had this chain that I would wear. Like I said, I had buzzed all my hair off. Like I was going through. It was rough. It was rough times. And I'll show y'all eventually a picture of what that was like in the process of healing, and how I was able to grow into a better person. How now my hair looks kind of crazy right now, but how I was able to grow my hair out, take care of myself, take care of my skin, my hair, all those things, right? That all makes you a stronger man, a stronger person, a stronger individual, right? But you have to work through those things. And it didn't hit me until junior year that I'm letting anger control my life. I'm tired of feeling angry. I'm tired of not understanding what anger is. So I took the time to sit in my own thought. I had no friends. Who was I supposed to be with? Who was I supposed to talk to, hang out with? My friends were all in California. We would talk on the phone, we would play the game, but I was suffering. And it didn't hit me until junior year that I was really, really suffering, right? But before my junior year had started, I had worked, and it was my first job at 15. I had worked at a place called Nuke's Eatery, and I was a dishwasher. And at that time, I was really suffering. I was very angry at the world, like I said. And I was making money, but it was nothing. It was nothing compared to the amount of money you could really make nowadays, right? And I was making maybe like, 500, I think, was my first paycheck. I was making that every 2 weeks, right? And I was making that as a dishwasher. I think I was making $7.50 an hour, which is the minimum wage in Texas. And I was 15 making that. I was working crazy shifts. I would go in at 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. sometimes I would go in at night. I would close most of the time, and on weekends I would open. I would clean the store and then start cleaning dishes and prep all the dishes for them to make the food. And then it was a very aggravating place to work. Cleaning dishes is a job that will lead you to be angry. People don't speak on it enough, but when you got people coming back there throwing dishes in your workspace as you're trying to keep it nice and neat, as you're trying to clean everything, and they dumping things out of the way, they moving all your stuff, it makes you very angry, right? But I had finally felt enlightened at the time for some reason. I had finally realized that I'm making money, I'm doing better, and I have no reason to be angry anymore. I'm out of my situation. Things aren't the best. Things aren't where I want them to be, but things are better. And once you're able to realize that things will be better, then you're able to realize that you don't have to be angry all the time, right? And that was something that helped me a lot. At one point, I had got so fed up with them knocking over my dishes, I told them straight up, just set them there and stop touching them. And they started doing that. And once I realized I had a voice as a human being, I have a voice as a person, I realized that I don't need to be angry. I don't need to let my anger out on these people because they're not. I never told them anything. So why am I even angry? Like I was really, my mind was blown. Yeah, so needless to say, I go into my junior year of school and I'm no longer that angry at the world. I'm feeling a little better, feeling a little bit more confident. And I eventually had lost all my weight. I had lost all the COVID weight. I was back locked in. I had no longer been working at the time. I grew my hair out, And like I said, eventually y'all will see the videos and the process of all of that. I will share with y'all one day all of these videos of me and all the steps I have taken to grow as a person, losing weight, gaining weight, working out, not working out, all of those things, taking care of my skin, taking care of my hair, all of those things, right? So yeah, I had made a lot of friends actually my junior year. Now that I think about it, I had met this one individual. She was a great person. She really helped me a lot, to learn myself and to learn my standards as a man. And like I said, she is one of the only individuals. I ain't gonna say her name, and I hope she never sees this, and I hope she's not watching this, because I will be embarrassed low key. But it is what it is, Like I said, I'm able to admit my feelings, and I'm able to understand how I felt in that moment. And she was the second girl I had ever talked to, and I had thought about being in a relationship with, and it was because she had led me to not feel angry anymore. And that's crazy to say, but my having an okay life at home at the time was definitely leading me to let go of a lot of anger, and then getting to talk to such a beautiful soul and a beautiful woman had helped so much. And I don't think men speak on that enough, but that's usually why men get married to women like that, right? And like I said, this was a girl that I consider had dating, but I was letting a lot of things slide because I was not angry anymore, but I was not trying to get angry either. So I would let a lot of things slide. I wouldn't speak on a lot of things. And eventually, like I said, we had a falling out. Obviously, I shared on a few episodes ago, I never had dated before, but she's one of those individuals out of the two girls that I've ever talked to in my life that I had considered dating. I have very high standards. I didn't do anything with these females or anything like that. So if y'all are thinking something like that, get that out of your head. If I'm being real with y'all, this was just all emotion. This was all me learning my anger. And I'm glad to say that I've had other people in my corner to help me with that. And I had made two very close friends at the time in Texas, because I still had my friends out there in California. It's still love for them, and I'm still currently friends with them. And it's sad to say I'm not really close with those other two individuals that I met out here, my friend Randall and my friend Isaac. Those are still my peoples, because they really helped me at hard times, and they also went through things. We also grew as people with each other, and they also helped me learn that I don't have to be angry to understand my standards, and I don't have to let things slide, and me letting things slide is not gonna interfere with my anger, right? Basically, they let me understand that I have a right to be angry, and I have a right to be angry in moments. And they didn't ever say that to me, but they would say certain things that led me to think about that, right? I'm a big overthinker, so I would sit in my room at night and be like, dang, I'm letting this slide, and nothing's gonna happen from this. I'm not gonna date this girl at this point. And I had learned my own anger through that. I had learned that I had other people really trying to guide me on how to go about my anger without even telling me. And God had blessed me with those people, but I had no clue at the time. And it didn't happen until I finally stopped. It became summer, and Randall moved away. Isaac was working, and I was working. I was working at Walmart now, and I finally had gotten understanding of what I got out of my junior year of school. Like I said, my freshman year was a very great year, but I was a very angry kid. I was a very angry person at this time. I'm already 16, 17, I think, in my junior year, and was happy. I was very happy. I'm glad y'all have been listening this far if you have, and I'm glad y'all have been tuning in to what I'm kind of sharing with y'all. Like I said, there's so many more details about these things, and there's so much more I have to share, but I'm trying to keep it short and sweet with y'all, right? So come senior year, my mom had dropped us out of school. There was a lot of things going on at home that was leading me to be angry again. Like I said, I wasn't really in touch with my friends no more. Like I said, that girl had already been out the picture. My junior year, we stopped talking. So yeah, I was very angry at the world once again, and I was led in another dark spot. I was still working at Walmart, but to be honest with y'all, my mom was drinking, and she was drinking very bad. She used to do other things besides drinking that I'll share with y'all one day, but this time she was just drinking. So she was drinking very bad. She had gotten a weight loss surgery that was an internal weight loss surgery. I believe it's called the gastric sleeve, if I'm correct. If I'm incorrect, let me know in the comment. But yeah, she had got her gastric sleeve done, and she had went on this weight loss surgery that my grandparents had helped her with. And yeah, we were living in Texas, we have no family really. I'll share with y'all details about that. So on my black side of the family, I'm a mixed kid, so I'm half black, half white. And to be honest with y'all, I'm West African, Irish, Italian, a whole bunch of different things, Sicilian, a whole bunch of like different types of whites, a whole bunch of, and then just West African on my black side. So I'm West African, Sicilian, Irish, and Italian, right? So we're not cool with any of my dad's side of the family, but we are cool with my grandparents on my mom's side. But I don't really know anyone else. I'm just now getting to understand my aunt and get to know her really. She was in my life a little bit when I was young, but I really have no true connection with her. But my grandparents always were there for us. They were there when we were in middle school. They lived with us for a short time in middle school. And then my freshman year, when I had really been angry at the world and really been suffering, they had no clue what was going on. So we moved out here and they had helped us. Like, I'll share in details one day with y'all everything, but yeah, we really came from nothing. And if it wasn't for my grandparents, shout out them. Those are people that have no hatred and they have lots of love and they're great souls, man. And I'm glad to have them in my life. They have saved us so much and so much suffering, and I already thought we went through so much, but they have saved us from so much more. And I'm really blessed to have them in my life. And they're really, like I said, they're not angry at all, especially my grandma. Me and her talk a lot. She even told me that me and her have a great bond, and I'm glad to say that she has led me to a lot of enlightenment as a person. And what I mean by enlightenment is not any of those things that you guys might hear people say nowadays or like anything like that. It's just she has led me to be a lot happier. She has led me to no longer feel anger or feel ill will towards a lot of people, and she has helped me learn about my traumas without even saying anything, with just listening and just seeing her facial expressions when I tell her things, and just having her understand that my feelings are valid, just having someone, support you. And like I said, my friends, they do that, especially, like I said, shout out Angel and his family. They know a lot about me that I don't even share with my own family. I don't even share with a lot of people, but like I said, shout out them, bro. And my grandma, she doesn't even know as much as Angel and them, but there's certain things she does know that they might not know, and vice versa. But there's still people that I'm able to share with, and people that have no ill will when I tell them these things, and they don't tell me that my feelings are valid. They're not opinionated because they weren't there and they didn't live in that situation, right? So they tell me that it's okay and that I could get through those things, and they help me learn about my hatred. Like I said, those people helped me in my junior year. These are people that help me currently, and they helped me in the past, right? So I still have a little bit of a support system, but I have learned to live on my own, especially after my senior year in high school. Like I said, my mom had dropped us out of school. I was finally locked in with my credits. I was finally about to graduate, and we randomly got dropped out. She told us that we were going to be doing online school from here on out, and me and my brother were kind of like, why? And then come to happen, we never got put in online school, and a whole bunch of other things happened, right? And like I said, at this time she was drinking very badly, and she had just had her surgery. So I was worried about her health as a person, and I didn't want her to die. Like I said, I had no longer had any ill will towards my mom, because no one had known what was going on to the full extent, but I really had love for my mom, and I still do. Like I said, shout out my mama Dukes. She really is a great person, but at the time she had so much hatred in her soul that was leading her to be controlled by alcohol. It was leading her to cause pain to us and to cause trauma to me and my siblings. And then my sister ended up moving out because of those things, and then it was just me and my brother for a long time. And then eventually I felt like it was just me. My brother kind of had disconnected from everyone, and I can't blame him for that. I was doing the same thing. I would go to California for months on end. Sometimes I would go for weeks on end, because my mom works at the airport, so I would get free flights. So I would go out to California. At one point I had got so tired of life, and I had got so mad at life, that I went out there for 3 months, right? And in those 3 months I was able to learn that there is happiness, there is joy. And then something had happened. I'll speak on it eventually one day. I'm not going to speak on it now. But something had happened that had led me to go into more despair and into more anger. And then another thing had happened because of that event that led me to be even more angry at my mom, right? And then eventually my grandparents had heard about what was going on, and they helped us. They sent my mom off to rehab. And like I said, it's almost been a year that my mom has been sober, and things have been looking good since then. But after those things had happened, I had got fired from Walmart when I had got back from California. Oh, so I said that incorrectly. I went to California for like a 2 week trip. Took the time off of work. It was like almost 2 weeks, and I had saved. And then I came back, worked for like 3 months, and then my mom was still drinking. And then it got to the point where I was walking home at night. I was Ubering to work. I was Ubering home. Whatever the case may have been. And then eventually, I had got fired from Walmart, and that was because of points. It was a very dumb reason, if you ask me. But hey, we're all in control of what we can do, and that was not in my control. And I was very angry at the world, right? And then I went to California because of what had happened, and then something had happened while we were there that led me to be very, very angry as a person. Be very angry at my mom, be very angry at the whole world, and then my grandparents had heard about what happened. And at this time, like I said, I was fired. So you know what I did with my anger? I turned that anger into motivation. I started learning about my clothing, the clothing brand that I have dropping real soon. I started learning about what I could do as a person. I started reading books. I started working out. I started eating better. All of those things. I wasn't working, but I was doing things to help my grandparents because they had just moved here. So shout out to them. Like I said, they have helped when times are really hard. They were helping me learn about myself without even knowing about it. Want to know why? Because they were helping me by giving me money for doing things for them, by working or whatever the case may have been at the time, helping them build their gelato shop. That's what they have now out here in Texas. They have a gelato shop. Shout out Spurs Gelato. Go check them out if y'all are in Texas. But yeah, so they had helped me financially because I was able to get books with that. I was able to get steaks, to get high protein meals. I was able to get rice, chicken. I was able to learn to cook. I learned to cook. I learned to work out. I learned to have consistency on a daily basis. Wake up on time, put in the work, and you will see the results. Right? I was able to turn that anger into motivation, and that helped my mom by putting her in rehab. Right? So, like I said, things were looking up, and then I started having doubts. With everything going on. I was getting comfortable, and then eventually I had snapped back into reality. I was like, I need to work. I need to do something. I've learned what I needed to learn about business. I've learned what I needed to learn about clothing. It's never enough. You never can learn enough, right? But I had learned enough to where I could start it, but I didn't have the financial gain to start it, right? So I was like, I need to get a job again. This was after like 4 months, 5 months, something like that. That was the longest I had went without working since I've lived in Texas. And at this time, I'm already 18. And I was just about to turn 19, actually. I'm about to be 20 in April. And so I was already 18, about to be 19. And I was like, I need to get something going. I need to get back locked in. I can't stand being broke. That's just me. I can't stand not having money in my pocket. I can't stand feeling like I'm mooching off of people. So I paid my grandparents back when I had got my job. I paid everyone back. I'm not that type of person, and I'm glad to say that. I take much pride in the amount of money that I'm willing to give others if they help me. And like I said, if someone helps you, you're supposed to help them tenfold. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn the left cheek. Just because someone causes you harm doesn't mean cause them harm back. And I had learned all these things without working, so now I felt like I was very comfortable in my skin. Now I finally had learned about myself. I finally had learned how to control my anger, and I started working again, right? And then at work, I was feeling angered at work now. Now I'm kind of getting irritated at work. I'm kind of getting irritated by my manager at times. My manager is a very cool person. All the people I work with are very cool people. I got much love for them. But certain things people do anger me so much. Certain actions my own siblings take, my own mom takes, my own grandparents might take. They anger me so much. My own friends. It's because I don't understand it and I don't wish to understand it. So I'm very angry at times, right? And at this point, I was fed up. I was fed up at what was going on at home. I was fed up with what was going on. Like I said, my mom had stopped drinking, but we still was struggling. Like, we always lived in struggle, kind of. It's just my mom and my grandparents help her, but they can only do so much, right? And I don't even want their help, but they help because they're great people. Like I said, shout out them. Much love. And so what had happened was I had finally came to understand that I have control over my anger. I had read books. I'm back into reading. I've been locked in with reading once I had quit my job, but I was really, really locked in. I was looking at books that would help me learn things about business, help me learn things about emotion, help me learn things about manhood, about masculinity, about working out, all these things, right? I had turned my TikTok algorithm into nothing but learning, nothing but business education, all of these things, right? Because like I said, these things are tools that you can use. This video is a tool that you could use to become a better person. This video is a tool that you can learn to control your anger, right? So yeah, I had turned my TikTok into an algorithm that was feeding me nothing but information. My YouTube, nothing but podcasts where I could learn about myself. And that's because there's people out there that relate to you. There's people out there that might be going through it worse. There's people out there that are going through it worse. They're not might be. There is someone going through it worse. Trust me. Trust me on that, bro. There's always someone going through it worse than you. And there's always someone having it way, way better than you. But guess what? It's up to you what you're going to do about that, right? I come to that realization finally. And I come to understand that I am controlling my anger. I am in control of my anger. I am in control of my anger. I had to say it to y'all twice so y'all really understand it. You are in control of your anger. You watching this video, you are in control of your anger. This was a long journey that took me up until the age of 18 to understand that I am in control of my anger, right? And now at the age of 19, I still do get angered by people. I still don't understand how people act, but guess what? I'm able to control my anger. I'm going to break down to y'all what I was able to do to learn that. All of those things that happened, that helped me learn, right? All these events that happened, all these traumas that I endured, that helped me learn that I can control my anger. And that helped me learn that I don't need to be an angry person anymore. I don't need to be angry on a daily basis. I have the right to be angry in certain situations. I have the right to my own opinion. I have the right to be angered by other people's actions, but I have no control over them, right? I had to learn that. That's something major that you have to learn if you want to learn to control your anger. I'm going to break it down to y'all, right? I'm going to tell y'all what I did to control my anger and what y'all should do to help control your anger, you know? If y'all agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. Working out is a great way to let out anger. It's a great way to build yourself up as a man, as a woman, as a person in general. It's a great way to learn consistency. It's a great way to put in that work and see that there will be great results if you're willing to put in that work and trust the process, right? Working out. I was working out. Reading's a great way to, just, it's very chill. It's very simple. It's a simple thing that we could do to learn and to just be at a peace of mind. I would come out here. I would go on my walks. I've always liked walking, so I go on my walks every day, even when I was working, even when I wasn't working. When I wasn't working, I was walking out here for 2 hours, 3 hours, but now I'm working, so I'm out here walking. I'm out here reading. I'm out here listening to jazz instrumentals, and I'm reading in my room. Whatever the case may be, I was reading. Reading is a great way to, help you understand and conceal your anger, right? Some people say meditation is a great way to go about controlling your anger, your emotions as a person, to understand your traumas, all of these things, right? Another thing I did, I lived through my traumas in my head over and over again. I had quit smoking so I could start remembering things, and that led me to go through some traumas, go through some dreams, some nightmares that I don't want to speak on and that I will eventually speak on, but that is true. As you quit smoking, you will have withdrawals. At least for me, my withdrawals were loss of sleep, dreams, and nightmares. Crazy. They were crazy dreams. They were weird dreams. They were weird nightmares, and a lot of them were nightmares that had happened in the past. A lot of past traumas, right? So at work, I would be sitting on these nightmares, sitting on these dreams, and just thinking about them, overthinking about them, trying to understand them more. But guess what? That led me to not be angered by them. That led me to understand my feelings in that moment. That led me to understand my actions were not okay. That led me to understand that others people's actions were not okay. But that led me to understand that living in the past will do nothing for me but cause me pain and suffering and anger, right? So living through your traumas, that's the fourth thing that you could do to really lock in and start understanding your anger, right? The fifth thing I think you should do is be comfortable in your own skin. And what I mean by that is be comfortable with conversating with yourself about your traumas. Be comfortable with conversating about yourself on an opinion or something you might have seen. First, speak to yourself before you speak to others. And that will really help you be comfortable in your own skin. Take yourself out on that date. If you're not able to do it by yourself, how are you going to be able to have a good time when you do it with others? I truly do think that. So the fifth thing I really think is being comfortable in your own skin. I'm comfortable in my skin now. I'm comfortable telling people my emotions. If they don't like it, that's too bad. I'm not angry anymore. I'm enlightened. Like I said, as a person, I was able to find faith in God. That's something that's the sixth thing. That's the major thing. The sixth thing, find faith. Whatever that higher being is, whatever you need to do, find some faith, whether that be faith in yourself, faith in your family, faith in a higher being. Like I am, my faith, it goes to God and Jesus Christ. But hey, whatever works for you will help you. Find some faith. Faith will help you not be angered, right? Yeah, y'all, like I said, anger is a crazy thing. Anger can control your whole life if you allow it. Anger could lead you to make irrational decisions, but guess what? If you're able to live through your past traumas and you're able to live in the future and in the present, you're able to understand that anger has no control in your life and you will no longer be suffering. And that's something I had learned as a person. That's something I worked through. It's something I still am putting the work in to understand, right? But at least I'm willing to put in the work. At least I'm able to understand and keep my anger in check as a person. Maybe not to the fullest extent I want it to be, but I'm able to do it now more than I ever able was to do in the past. And I don't know if I said that weird, my bad, but like I said, this has been a long video. It's been a very deep video. I feel very great being able to share these emotions, being able to share this on a platform and let people understand that you are not alone. This anger that you feel is not your own anger. It's other people's anger. Your own anger is something that you can control, and your own anger is something that you could build up and you can conceal at times. And it's something that everyone will deal with on a daily basis. It's something that everyone will deal with as a person. But if you're able to grow and able to understand it and able to be comfortable with your anger, you'll be able to grow as a person, right? So, yeah, I hope y'all really enjoyed this episode. This is the Real Talk Podcast where real people talk about the real. And I want to say thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for understanding that this is something that I've struggled with for a long time. This is something that have traumatized me and led me to be traumatized, led me to endure trauma, led me to inflict trauma, all of those type of things, right? And I'm kind of running out of breath here, so my bad, y'all. Bear with me. But this is the outro, so I want to say bye, and I want to say thank y'all for watching, man. This is a great episode. This is something that I really needed to talk about. This is something that y'all really need to hear, that I needed to hear myself say, and this is something to solidify that I have grown as a person, right? This is something I'm able to speak on because I'm able to tell y'all the experience I've dealt with. I'm able to tell y'all the trauma that I've dealt with that have led me to understand my anger. This is my journey of how I conquered anger, right? So, yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this video. This is the Real Talk Podcast where real people talk about the real. And peace out, y'all.